Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 32 of the Hub World podcast. It is a very special episode 32 because today we are going to be giving our predictions for tomorrow's Nintendo Direct, the
Holy
second
cow.
Nintendo Direct that we will be covering on the Hub World that isn't E3 related. These are the episodes that make us hyped. These are the episodes that made us want to do our podcast, and we're really glad that we're able to give our predictions. But before we do that, my name is Mateo. I will be hosting today, and today I'm joined by,
It's Gino.
and it's just Gino. Giuliano
Yeah.
was unable to make it to today's recording, but he did sent me a clip, and I will actually play the clip towards the end of the episode. But yeah, we're really excited, and it's surprising actually because normally Nintendo makes us wait a day after they announced the direct, but no, the direct's actually tomorrow. It's the next day.
Yeah. And before we kind of like kick things off and start our predictions and like all the hype building and stuff, just if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard to the Hub World. We try to post as often as we can weekly. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or in Spotify, you guys are also welcome as well. We're glad to have you here. If you didn't know that we're on the other platforms, hey, go check us out. You can listen to us wherever you like. And if you're on the YouTubes, like, subscribe, and tell your friends because, as Mateo said before, like Nintendo Directs and speculation and hype and predictions and things, this is what we wait for, and this is why we started. So your support, if you like and comment on the video and things like that, it means a lot to us. So let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, and if we are seeing into the future.
Hopefully, we are seeing it to the future.
Oh gosh, I wish.
So for this episode, for the predictions episode, we are actually going to split it into three topics. So the first topic is going to be about games that are already announced and whether we think they will appear or not, or what we hope to see from them. The second segment will be about DLC for games that have already released, and the third and topic will be predictions for new games that we hope to see. And then we're actually going to end the episode with our prediction for the final Smash Bros. Character. So after we talk about our new predictions, I will insert Giuliano's clip. He'll end his prediction with the Smash Bros. Topic. Then we will talk about Smash Bros. And conclude for the episode. So with that, let us mosey on down our giant list that we have, that at least that I have constructed of my Nintendo Direct talking points.
The list that Mateo constructed, and I am borrowing the rough draft of.
Yes. So I think a good place to start is with the game that is coming out soonest, and that will be Metroid Dread. Gino, I don't know about
Yes.
you, but I don't want to see Metroid Dread at all because we've seen way too much of that game.
Yeah, I know. I remember actually just like going through my subscriber feed, and I saw Arlo's video about like his spoiler video, and it's just like Nintendo put a 4-minute trailer out that basically shows us the villain, basically shows us a bunch of story details, and he's like, spoilers, no. Yeah, I don't want to see any more of this game. I've already hit hype. We can wait a week. We can wait a week.
Yeah.
We can wait a week. We can wait a week and a half. Don't show us anymore. They'll probably tell us that it's still coming. Hopefully, they just rehash stuff that they've already shown us. That doesn't further spoil the game.
I don't even want that though. I just would like, if it is going to appear, have it in a sizzle reel of like upcoming games that is at the end of the direct that like most people skip. Like it's something that I just don't want to see. I think it's a waste of time. The direct's 40 minutes. It's on the longer end of directs, but still I feel like even if they devote 30 seconds or a minute to Dread, that's way too much. That game is coming out. We've seen so much of it already. I think even just by talking about it this much, we're wasting our listeners' time, to be honest with you. But
okay, no more.
now on to the exciting games. Not that Dread's not exciting, but like the games that we don't know a lot of. Mario Party will be coming out at the end of October, and what I think will be shown for that game is we know three boards that will be three of the five boards in that game. I believe it's Peach's Birthday Cake, Spaceland, and Wispy Woods. Hopefully they show us another board at least. We know about 70% of the mini games, so hopefully we get some new mini games. and other modes, anything like that would be expected from on my end. Like I'm so excited for this game. Nintendo seems to finally understand what people want in Mario Party,
Yep.
and that alone is like incredibly uplifting because maybe like we'll actually get a good Mario. Like Super Mario Party was really good in my opinion, but like
It was.
hopefully
It was
this will
fun.
start a continuation of like the continuation of really good Mario Party games in a row. Like so we don't have another dark age.
Yeah. We got to go into a renaissance of Mario Party. More friendships need to be destroyed. And going back to the N64 era, where all friendships were destroyed, this is a good start.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that all the modes in the game will be multiplayer, like will have online multiplayer.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that will be really awesome because you don't even need to gather around. Like everyone can play on a big screen of their own and whatever. You can, and that I think would be a really interesting way to play Mario Party, where you're not even like in the
Yeah.
same room as people. It'd be weird.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel like the online multiplayer and everything is fun right now during the pandemic, but I feel like as soon as like everyone gets back to like once we're in a safe once we're in a safe enough place where we don't need to wear masks anymore, where we don't need to be separated because of this, being able to see your friend's face while you steal their star is priceless, and that is something that means so much to me. And standing in front
Yeah,
of the TV blocking the minigame roulette because it's
awful.
inherently not fair. You know what I'm talking about. But
Yep,
yeah,
that was garbage, but
you have to play Mario Party in person. It's one of those just like quintessential Mario Party experiences just to have everyone there in the room. It's great.
mhm.
But yeah, it'd be nice to see more, but they don't really need to go into it too much because it would be nice to experience like, okay, what mini games are going to be here, or what boards are going to be here. Just like the surprise of that, I think is also very important. So
Well, next up I have written down is I'm now gonna go in different order now. Like we're not gonna go in release order. I have Splatoon 3 written down because I actually think Splatoon 3 will be here. I think Splatoon 3 is probably gonna be a summer type game like the other two Splatoon games that came before it were. But I don't know how big of a blowout they're gonna do for the game. Like if it is there, I think it would have a new story trailer that might show off like who the new pop stars are, like the Squid Sisters or Off the Hook, and then just what new interesting weapon types or game modes are they going to introduce? Because Splatoon 2 really, in my opinion at least, like 'cause they're very similar experiences, Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, but Splatoon 2 added like the Splat Dualies as an interesting new weapon type, and like there was Salmon Run as a new mode, stuff like
Salmon One was
that.
really fun.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, I think my best memories of Splatoon 2, aside from the Octo expansion DLC, was like the times that like us two, Giuliano
Joe.
and Joe did Salmon Run. It felt in a way like it's like Firefight in Halo or Escalation. This is a deep cut. Escalation in the Transformers War for Cybertron game
Oh
on Xbox 360 that is criminally underrated.
yeah,
Uh,
honestly,
that, I
I
like those
really
like
want to revisit that.
yeah. I really like those PVE modes, and I think the execution wasn't necessarily the greatest in Salmon Run, but I feel like if they were to give that another chance or introduce a new mode like that, I think they could do something really special.
I think if we get a story mode, Mateo, and I think we were even talking about this back during when when Splatoon 2 first came out. We were like, how cool would it be for a potential Splatoon 3 to actually have the Salmonids as like a villain faction, right? And
Mhm.
like now that we're seeing like, okay, chaos has enveloped the world and these like salmon creatures are like weird and fascinating at the same time. They seem kind of chaotic, especially with some of the forms and stuff they took, like the train guy and like the floating
the, tr-
thing,
the
the
train
train
guy. Yeah,
and stuff. Just like they're just purely chaotic, and the matches, like the maps themselves for the salmon run mode, were also like destroyed kind of places and stuff. So like maybe there's something there, right?
I think you're onto something there. I really think that the Salmonids will be involved heavily in the Splatoon 3 story, but
Y-
hopefully they actually show it because that's the only
Yeah.
thing. Like they said the direct is focusing on games coming this winter, Splatoon 3 is coming out next year, but it's probably going to be a summer release like I said earlier, but
Nintendo could surprise us, Mateo. Winter technically does go into next year.
yeah, but I don't think there's no way it's going to be early. Honestly, Nintendo's first 3-4 months of next year potentially could be really good, so I don't think they should put Splatoon there. I just don't think it's the right fit for the time of year. But
Yeah.
going from a game that we don't know exactly what's coming out to games that we do know that are coming out, the Pokemon games. We have Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and also Pokemon Legends Arceus. Personally, I don't think these games will appear at all. We just had the Pokemon Presents in August, I want to say. It feels longer than it was, but it's surprisingly recent. Um,
Yeah.
and the Pokemon Company does their own thing. Like the only times I can remember Pokemon actually being in Nintendo Directs would be like E3 time, around E3 time. Pokemon Company, they march to the beat of their own drum. They do whatever the heck they want. They'll just be one day there'll be a press release with a new trailer saying, "Oh, here's a new Hisuian form for Pokemon Legends," or this feature will be in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So like I'm not getting my hopes up. I of the belief that we probably won't get any Pokemon updates at all in this
Yeah.
direct.
And as you said before, like Pokemon does their own thing. They are their own thing. Nintendo just signs the checks.
Yep. Similar to that, I have now Mario plus Rabbids Spark of Hope, I think it's called. The sequel to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. We saw this game at E3. We haven't seen it since. It's coming out next year. Mario plus Rabbids, to me, is it's a toss up because Ubisoft does their own, like I think they're called Ubisoft Connects, and they do them every once in a while. And this being a game that's developed by Ubisoft, it would probably be there, but because it's a Mario game, it could be in a direct. Now, Gino,
Mm.
do you think Mario plus Rabbids will be here?
I think it will be because like Mario and Rabbids is I know it's developed by Ubisoft, but Mario and the Mario cast and the Mario world are front and center, and they're largely the stars. And the Mario fied Rabbids, and like they are like Rabbid Peach and stuff. Yes, is the most popular character in that franchise and is probably the funniest one. But like Mario and friends are front and center. I think Nintendo would take the lead on that, right? Just the way it is, and then Ubisoft they wouldn't try to upstage Nintendo on their own IP.
Because like the thing that I'm thinking about right now is that the game got shown off at E3. They didn't really show much there. Was mostly, if maybe all of it was just cinematics when I think about it. I don't know if they actually showed gameplay or not.
They did. They got rid of like this kind of like the chessboard kind of layout of the map, and they went more for like free flow, where like you know how in the original game you could move like certain blocks, like
Yeah.
you would be able to move via like squares and stuff. It's now just like a radius around your character, and they showed off that kind of stuff.
But regardless though, they didn't show much in the grand scheme of things.
Oh yeah, they didn't, but there was that.
Would they have a lot to show after a few months of development? I don't think so. So that's why like to me this seems like the type of game that they would highlight for in like a direct at the beginning of the year in like a January to March, because it'll probably also end up releasing next year around the same time as the first game. I would think like that's another summer type game
Yeah,
that would get really pushed, especially around E3 time. So
yeah.
Mario and Rabbids is very interesting. It's hard for me to pin down, but if it's there, I love the first game. I want to hear Grant Kirkhope's score.
Honestly, I think like even the more we're talking about all of these things that seem a little bit farther away, like oh, will this title be here and stuff? Honestly, Mateo, I think this direct is just going to be focusing on their holiday lineup and like the end of the quarter kind of stuff. Like they're not going to
Hmm.
go into too much really about anything else. Like once I start to sit down and think about it, they're not going to talk about anything really past like January. Like October, November, December is what they're focusing on. They want to finish off the quarter strong because they've had a great year.
We do actually have one more game here that does have a release date for December. I believe it's December 3rd. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. The Advance Wars 1 and 2 remake that's being developed by Way Forward.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to these games. I've never played the Advance Wars series, and it's always been recommended to me. There's a lot of people in the Nintendo community that are huge Advance Wars fans, and the fact that the series is being given another chance, honestly, it's very heartwarming that this once really beloved series that has since been basically overtaken by Fire Emblem, especially since Fire Emblem Awakening. Intelligent Systems had both of these series. They were alternating between Advance Wars and Fire Emblem for years. And then since the Advance Wars games on DS, there hasn't been any more. And I think and that has to do with the fact that Fire Emblem just became so popular. So, and then now they have two. They'll have to balance two big tactical RPG franchises. Fire Emblem is way bigger, needs more attention now. So, but now Advance Wars is being given a second chance by a really beloved studio being way forward. I honestly don't know what to ask for these games because just by me playing them is going to be a fantastic experience. So probably just quality of life improvements over the original games. That's all I can expect. I'm not one to talk about Advance Wars. Hopefully one day I can, but I just want to see more of it because it kind of was a smaller announcement at the end of the E3 Direct. It didn't really get as much time as the bigger announcements did, but it definitely did not go unnoticed. So if you don't have anything to add for Advance Wars, Gino, I think we should continue on with something that would be considered to be one of the worst kept secrets by Nintendo Switch Online. Now, Nintendo Switch Online has had a lot of rumors swirling around it. The first rumor that came out has to do with Game Boy and Game Boy Color games being added to the service.
Yeah, this is pretty hype.
I think it was a week later, maybe. Another rumor came out, and this one also got picked up by a lot of insiders who were corroborating it. Is that Nintendo 64 games are coming? My theory is that Game Boy and Game Boy Color games should just be added for free to everyone because there's not really much to those games, especially like in terms of replayability. Because like the Game Boy games are really short; they're very comparable to NES games, and it's not as exciting. I don't think the Pokemon games will be on here, so like that's another thing. So like Super Mario Land, Super Mario Land 2, Tetris, I think would be there. Games like the Donkey Kong Lands, Donkey Kong 94, those are not
You think the
massive
Oracle
games.
games? The Oracle games would be there.
That's the thing. It's Zelda's 35th anniversary. Maybe they do put the Oracle games on there because rumors say it's Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and the Oracle games were Game Boy Color. And the
Yeah.
original version of Link's Awakening can be can be put on for a Nintendo platform for the millionth time. But yeah, the other part of what I wanted to say was Nintendo 64 games. I feel like for Nintendo 64, it's like the first era of Nintendo that the games kind of feel they're more grand, they're more ambitious because they entered into 3D. Ocarina of Time is a more ambitious, epic experience than just say a 2D platformer would be on Super Nintendo. So I feel like Nintendo could charge a bit of a premium there, maybe
Yeah.
an extra tier or something like that, like a $5-10 upgrade on your Switch Online membership. And remember, we say $5-10. That's actually not much because like Switch Online is dirt cheap, especially if you have 8 people on a family plan like we do. We pay next to nothing a year on it. So what do you think, Gino?
Yeah, honestly, I think it would be I think it would be fair because the games are bigger, they're more complicated, and they're more focused on like multiplayer. Like imagine if you do this, it would be a great way. Like Nintendo 64 was the first console that had the 4 ports on it where you could get 4 controllers, plug it in, and play games like Mario Party, like Mario Kart, like Diddy Kong Racing and things like that with your friends all in the same place. And if they
Hmm.
want people to adopt the Nintendo Switch Online more than they already have or entice people, hey, we're going to include online multiplayer with it. I
Well,
think
they
that would be
do already
huge.
have online multiplayer with the other games in Nintendo Switch Online. I played
Yeah,
Dr. Mario online. I've played Kirby Superstar online. Like we've played a lot. I've played Kirby's Dream Course, the golfing game. I got destroyed in that. Super Mario Kart, you can play it online. Like there's on N64. Look at the multiplayer games you can play. Like you said already, Mario. You have the Mario Party games. You have Mario Kart. Mario Tennis could be great. Mario Golf,
all
Super
Mario
Smash
Tennis
Brothers.
64 is still
Yeah,
think the best in the
Super
series.
Smash Brothers. But like I don't think they're gonna launch with this massive library. If they do add it, I think it'd probably be around 10 games at launch. And then slowly they'll trickle out a few a month or however they see fit. The N64 library, I think, is really people don't give it enough credit. I think there's a lot of phenomenal games on there. Some of my favorite games of all time are on there. But the thing is, if Nintendo were to celebrate the library of the Nintendo 64, the only way they can do it properly is if they include games made by Rare. Because like all they can legally distribute, I think, is Donkey Kong 64. But like the N64 would be nothing without obviously Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, Diddy Kong Racing, Conker's Bad Fur Day. GoldenEye is a disaster of a right. It's like the rights issues there are just super convoluted. And I don't think GoldenEye would happen. But yeah, there's other games. There's like Jet Force Gemini, Blast Corps,
Perfect Dark.
the fact that so many of the most iconic and notable games on that system are Rare made games, I feel like Nintendo would honestly, it would be sort of a half baked job if they didn't somehow get Microsoft involved and negotiate these games being ported on Switch Online. And the other thing that's very interesting about that is this FCC filing for a controller, and this is actually set to be released. It was set to be revealed on Friday before we even had a announcement of a direct. So it'll actually be announced the day before that now. And apparently, the controller is not a typical controller. It's very similar. Along, it's like it will not be like the way the NES and SNES controllers are filed on the under the FCC. So there won't be a Joy-Con type attachment. It's not going to be an amiibo base. It's it's more similar to a Pro controller. And I feel like if it's a Nintendo 64 controller, that's the right way to do it, right? You wouldn't want to have two N64 Trident controllers sticking out on the sides of the Switch like a Joy-Con. As
That'd be hilarious.
as funny as that would look, and I would be down to do that. It's just not practical. But a USB Type C charged wireless N64 controller, probably, hopefully, with a improved joystick that won't degrade after a few
It won't
years of
disintegrate
use.
after.
Yeah, I feel like that would be an instant buy for me. Other possibilities for this controller could be maybe something that Nintendo knows we need, but we don't.
I would love to have a pair of Joy-Cons that like aren't crazy expensive for what you get. Like I think they need to reduce the price on those because they are
Yeah,
like
that
as
won't
much as
have Joy-Con drift.
eh, that's never gonna happen. Like
Well,
Nintendo doesn't even like they don't even acknowledge the problem. So I don't think I just get that out of your head. I think cheaper
but
Joy-Cons would be nice that don't have the amiibo stuff because amiibo is like slowly dying. I'd like a cheaper alternative,
mhm.
personally.
Regardless, it's we just had I think it's the 3-year anniversary of Switch Online, and it's normally every year Nintendo does like do something for the service. So at the very least, even if it's just Game Boy or Game Boy Color or a new game like Tetris 99 was or Pac-Man 99 was, expect some Switch Online update of
Yeah.
some sort. So this is another thing that I think is pretty well confirmed because we know there's been ratings for games, and I think these games will all be in like a sizzle reel of some type. But the Castlevania Advanced Collection was rated. I forgot by which country rated it. There were other notable games like port of Disco Elysium to Switch,
Yep, I heard about that.
Alan Wake Remastered, Borderlands 3. Those types of games. Those games were all rated, and so their announcement should be imminent. They'll be in a
Is
direct
Skyrim
and
10-year
sizzle reel.
anniversary coming to Switch?
You would want that, wouldn't you?
I would. I'd buy it again.
Yeah.
I love Skyrim.
So how about we talk about or just I don't think you'll have anything to add to this. I'm just gonna say it just for the sake of saying it. Shin Megami Tensei 5 will probably be there in some shape or form, and also probably an update on Triangle Strategy, whatever the heck it's called. The really dumb
Please
named
change
game.
the name. Please change the name.
That's all I'll have to say about those.
Yeah.
And then
You think Bayo 3 is going to be there?
well, that's what I
Or
was
is
gonna
that
get
game
to,
just
Gino,
like
because I feel like
forever canceled?
so Bayonetta 3, Metroid Prime 4, and Breath of the Wild 2. Even though we did see Breath of the Wild 2 at E3 and it was really good, we enjoyed that. Those are the three games we don't know release dates of. Those feel like the games furthest down the road. But do you think either of or any three of those games, could be one of them, could be both, all three, whatever? Do you think we'll see any of those games on tomorrow's direct.
I want to say we'll get a tease and all that stuff just because I want to personally want to see that stuff. Realistically though, I don't think so just because I think as I said before, this is just Nintendo focusing on the next quarter.
I think all three of those games would be great games to show off at the Game Awards.
Yeah. And
We
that's
just
coming
saw
up.
Breath of the Wild 2, so I'm not expecting it at all.
Yeah.
We saw it at E3, and there's no chance that game comes out. I think in the next 6 months at least until the fiscal year's over, we will not see that game release. Metroid Prime 4, if
It's probably
anything, there's a
they're not
teaser.
gonna. Yeah, they're not. No, I would say not even a teaser. I think after Dread launches, we will get a teaser because they don't want to distract people with Metroid Prime 4, right? They want to keep
Yeah,
building the hype for Metroid Dread, right? They
yeah.
won't talk about it until probably Game Awards.
I honestly think Bayonetta 3 is probably the soonest, like it will be released the soonest out of all three of these games, just because it's been so long. We haven't seen anything. I'm just of the belief that they've put their heads down. They've went through they're going through development seemingly smoothly. It could be the type of thing where it's just announced and in a few months you'll be able to play it. So, but to me, that's still a really hardcore announcement that would get a lot of buzz at the Game Awards, especially since the game was announced at the Game Awards. So it would come full circle if it got re-revealed there. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good opportunity for them to show it there. So now that is all I have written for games that we do know of. That I just lumped the NSO update in there. But Gino, we should now move on to games that have been released that we could expect DLC from. Discounting Smash Bros. Remember, we're going to
Dang
talk
it.
about Smash Bros. At the very end. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll just say something and I'll let you go with it, Gino. I'll say Animal
Yeah.
Crossing.
Yes. We're gonna get our first update because it's been a little over a year now for Animal Crossing. Great game, great fun, and there's still barely any Nintendo furniture and Nintendo fan love aside from like some of the Mario stuff. We
It's only
need
Mario stuff.
we need Zelda stuff. Metroid's coming out. Let's get some Metroid stuff, especially with Halloween coming around, especially Metroid Dread because it's supposed to be spooky and scary. It'd be a great tie-in for Halloween for that kind of stuff. And like I feel like they might just like slowly release Nintendo stuff as these other big Nintendo titles get close to release. Like we'll get some Zelda stuff when Breath of the Wild 2's like slated to like be coming out. We'll get some Mario stuff when there's like a new Mario we'll get more Mario stuff when another Mario game comes out. I think with Halloween coming up and Metroid being scary and spooky, well I shouldn't say scary, but like it's a thriller kind of game, right? Like we'll see more information and we'll see more stuff for that coming out. It'd be great to get like okay, it'd be nice to get like like the equivalent of like the city or something back
Well,
or like
that's the
other
thing,
furniture
Gino.
packs.
Brewster
Yeah.
was data mined months ago, but still hasn't been released. We got to
Yeah.
go to Brewster's coffee shop. It's called the Roost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was supposed to be part of the museum, I believe, in the data mine, and that hasn't been added. Like, I honestly want something like obviously I want Brewster. Brewster's one of my favorite characters in Animal Crossing. Like you said with the Nintendo items, like that for me, the end game for me in every Animal Crossing before New Horizon was getting my Nintendo rooms and getting all the Nintendo furniture on display in my house.
Yeah.
And
Mine
I
was building
couldn't
the Temple of Time
yeah,
with the Master Sword
and
and
we couldn't
stuff.
do that in New Horizons. So like I feel like the game was the game everyone was playing in like last year and it's just fallen off a cliff because the updates have not been substantial enough. The updates have just been holidays. Okay, that's stuff that we should expect anyways. It's not anything new. There hasn't been a post-launch big update that is going to breathe new life into the game.
Yeah. Or like even just having like a bigger island that you can just build stuff on.
Yeah, like it's something like stuff like that substantial enough to bring new people over, and then the furniture and stuff that they have been adding, that's all supplementary. That's stuff that once you come in for the big content, you stay and collect the furniture. You come and you catch new fish, catch new bugs, stuff like that. That's not substantial enough to get you in. The stuff that will get you in is stuff like Brewster and other like going to the city stuff. I'm just using that as an example, but like I just want something substantial and new to the game so I can go back and pick the weeds out of my town. So
Yep. So I can get
um,
my golden roses again.
I think the only other two games I would that are givens are Mario Golf. Well, that's the thing. For sure, I think it'll be a course and a character. But I want mini golf. Mini golf was my go-to mode in Mario Golf 64, which was my most played Mario Golf before Super Rush. And the other game is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. The second DLC pack is slated to come out in November. Maybe they'll announce
I honestly forgot about that game.
maybe they'll announce the contents of that second pack, new characters, what have you. But the thing is, that could very easily be just like a Twitter announcement in a month or so, closer to the release, saying, "Okay, here's the stuff." But
Okay, here you go.
we're gonna move into new predictions. But this could very well be DLC. I just want something. I'm gonna kick off my predictions with Mario Kart. I want Mario Kart to be represented. I want a new Mario Kart or Mario Kart content, whether it is DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which could very well happen because it's selling extremely well. It's the best selling game on the system. I think
It hasn't
maybe
slowed down yet.
it's either that or Animal Crossing, but it still sells. Mario Kart is evergreen. If not Mario Kart DLC, my obviously the number one thing I would want would be Mario Kart 9, but I just I feel like it's time. It's been we haven't had a core series Mario Kart game on console. Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014. So on Wii U, and they got
In
ported.
almost 10
Yes,
years of Mario Kart 8.
I know that game's phenomenal. I still think there'll be a place for that game once Mario Kart 9 does come out, but I just want a new game. I want Diddy Kong to be on the
On the
roster.
roster.
The Switch's install base is massive. I don't know how much momentum Mario Kart 8, like sales momentum, it'll have. I think now might be the perfect time just to. I think the market's ready for a new Mario Kart. So
Yeah,
that's
we're
all
ready
I'll
for
say.
it.
Yeah. I've been ready for a new Mario Kart since 2018. So, uh, but yeah.
Yeah.
So Gino, what is your first prediction for anything you would like to see announced at this direct?
Considering it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda and we really haven't gotten anything, I would like
Hmm.
to see a collection. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, Skyward Sword is great, and getting the Skyward Sword Joy-Cons are great. Like, I love that game, and I appreciate it a lot more now that I have the I could use my Pro Controller, right? It would be nice to get like the Wii U HD collection, like HD games in a collection. Like get Wind Waker, Twilight Princess in one place. They also have the 3DS ports of Ocarina and Majora. It'd be great to have that. It'd be like all four of those games in one title, and they fix all the issues like Majora not being able to use ice arrows wherever you want, or again where Majora they fed you the stone mask, like just more true to the original ports. And it would also like feed into like that hey N64 game love as well as some GameCube game love as well. Like it'd be nice. It would be nice to do that. Honestly, maybe throw in like a few new amiibos and stuff just to like to feed into the fact like oh okay because Twilight had like the Wolf Link amiibo came with Twilight HD
Yeah.
and if you use the Ganon amiibo in Twilight HD it made Link take I think double damage, and if you were doing I think hero mode in that you would take quad damage, so I lovingly called it Ganon mode. It'd be nice to see like a collection of those types of things, but like or just kind of like similar how we had the like the Mario 64 collection, right? Or even just be like the original games.
Well, that's the thing. They could very well just port Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and put them on Switch Online as part of a 35th anniversary for Zelda. But the collection is something I really want because of Wind Waker and Twilight HD. Those are fantastic versions of those games.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nintendo's slate of games for the rest of the year, of their own games that they develop, because like the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes are Pokemon Company's business. There's a window of like basically just November of nothing that Nintendo's actually working on themselves. And I feel like a smaller title like a Zelda collection, which could be announced now and released then in a similar way to Mario All Stars or 3D All Stars was, where it was announced in September and released, I think it was like 3 weeks after it was announced. It was such a short turnaround. They
Yeah.
could easily do something like that, or even like a smaller thing, like a Wii U port of like. Personally, I think Star Fox Zero should be given another chance, and I know
Yeah.
Platinum Games wants that game to get another chance.
Hey, it
Maybe
sold
that,
really well.
yeah, yep, it did. Uh, maybe that is sort of like them hinting at the fact that it's coming or something, or Xenoblade Chronicles X port for November, just like a smaller game that will come out in November. I feel like that's a good window for a game like that to thrive in. Whether it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or if it's a new intellectual property, Xenoblade Chronicles X, I feel like we will see Monolith Soft at some capacity here.
I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure. And like I do have to go back and finish Xenoblade
Definitive Edition,
Definitive
yeah.
Edition. Yeah.
And like I have
But
Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade 2 is actually hard to find physically now in
oh,
our
I
area,
have another
so
idea. Mateo, I have
mhm.
another idea, and we were like just casually talking about this when we were like talking about like games like we would like to see in the future. Remember the Fire Emblem Echoes game?
Yep.
Imagine something like that, but with Binding Blade and Burning Blade. Like a Fire Emblem Echoes where they like redo like the Game Boy Advance games in some capacity. Put both of them together and like do it as an Echoes, like you do like a part 1 and a part 2 of the story
That would be
with Eliwood and
fantastic.
Hecht.
Mm.
I like that idea.
Yep.
It would be. I feel like that would be really cool because those
Yeah.
characters are like those are my like Hector is one of my favorite characters in Fire Emblem,
Mhm.
and was my main unit in the Fire Emblem mobile game when I played that back in like the first 2 years.
Yeah, and the judge, and also because Roy's game never came out in the West, that would be a perfect game to re-release because Roy's a popular character because of Smash Bros. Even in the West,
Yeah.
even though his game didn't come out here, it he's still a popular and noticeable and recognizable character in
Yep.
Nintendo's catalog, right? So it's and also the fact that Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance is one of my favorite Fire Emblem games. It's definitely a top 3 Fire Emblem game for me. I love that game to death. It's such a fantastic game. That's actually a really good prediction, Gino, because like Intelligent Systems is working on something because Fire Emblem Three Houses already been almost 2 years for that game. So
They got to be doing
um,
something.
I have one more prediction. I think it's time. Kirby needs a new game. I want a 3D Kirby game, and the 3D Kirby game was hinted in the files. I think it was Kirby, the most recent Kirby. I think it's Clash or Kirby Battle, whatever game for Switch.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's been rumored that Kirby will take that step, that next step into 3D. The Kirby formula has gotten stale. It's basically the game since Return to Dreamland have all had the same feel to them, with the exception of Planet Robobot. Similar art style, similar feel. I just think now is a time for Kirby to take that next step to and start a new era of the series. And 3D, I think Kirby would work so well in a 3D environment. I don't know, like going on like a full on like sandbox open world like Super Mario Odyssey was, but maybe more linear experience, level based. And I think that's the thing that would be the kicker for a 3D Kirby game for me. Is I think they brought back the ability fusion mechanic that was in Kirby 64.
Oh yes, that was so
That
fun.
would be, I think, a really awesome thing to add in a 3D Kirby game. There'd be enemies everywhere. You can grab an enemy. You can mix one ability with the other. You could create new abilities. I think that'd be fantastic. And
Yeah,
also,
and like even
oh,
like some modern Kirby games, like especially with the sword and with hammer, like with sword and hammer, they already have that. Like you have a plasma sword, or you have a fire sword, or you have like a fire hammer and an ice hammer, things like
yeah.
that. Like they already let you do that. Just why not like have fire boomerangs or plasma yo-yo or electric UFO or fridge?
Fridge Kirby was awesome. So, Gino, do you have anything else to add for a new
Um,
prediction?
I know. Can I have a long shot? Like I know it's probably not going to happen, and I know this is something that you are very passionate about since the GameCube Essentials list. And if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. The GameCube Essentials list is definitely a fun listen. Dude, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's only one option. Uh, F
Kirby Air
Zero.
Ride 2.
Oh, Kirby Air Ride 2 would be unreal.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think Riley would love that as well.
F Zero is just like, I feel like it's gonna be the type of thing where like Kid Icarus Uprisings like came out of nowhere, and that's why it was just so like there was such an amazing moment when it got revealed, or like how even this Advance Wars, the reboots came out of nowhere. No one was expecting it. F-Zero, that's just gonna happen with it. One day, it's just gonna be like, oh, here's a new F-Zero game, and maybe that day will be tomorrow. Probably won't, but
I hope. I really hope.
yeah, that's the ultimate like hub world long shot Nintendo prediction that we will predict every single direct. But so with that, we will get Giuliano's take on what he thinks will be announced in this direct. So enjoy Giuliano. This is past Giuliano. He will be here for our Nintendo Direct breakdown video, the part 2 of this episode. But Gino and I will be back after Giuliano finishes talking about his Smash Bros. Character predictions. So we will see you guys soon.
Hey everybody, it's Jules. I unfortunately was unable to make the podcast this evening, so I thought I'd just send in a few of my predictions so that you guys can hear from me as well, and hopefully, everybody else will get to kind of like talk around some of my points maybe. So first, I'm going to talk a little bit about games that have already announced, and what I think is going to happen with those. So I think, first of all, Metroid Dread is likely going to have like a little reminder trailer. I don't think we're going to get much new. It might even be a trailer we've already seen. Just a reminder that it's coming out in the next couple weeks. And I'm not anticipating anything in terms of new content for this game, in terms of like post-launch DLC or anything. But I do think it's a fairly safe bet that we're going to get something Metroid Dread related. But the one that I think is going to get like a big overbrew, like a breakthrough of information, is Mario Party Superstars. So I'm anticipating that Mario Party Superstars is going to have a big overview of single player modes, maybe some new characters, maps, mini games. And honestly, I'm thinking that they're going to announce some post-launch content, whether that be a free kind of deal like with Mario Golf and Mario Tennis, or whether it be something paid. I am anticipating that they're going to add more maps from Mario Party 1, 2, and 3, maybe one more from each game, as well as maybe some characters, maybe some mini games, maybe some modes, just to keep that game alive, because I really do feel like the concept of this game seems to be like a Mario Party that's going to last, and something that they can continually add to. So hoping for that. The other games that are already announced, I think, are going to get a little bit of content. Mario Golf needs its next course and its next expansion. Well, not really expansion, but its next course and its next character announced. I'm sure they're going to show that. Smash Bros, obviously, the last character is going to get announced. I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. And then I don't really think games like Advance Wars or Brain Age Academy are really going to get much. Neither will the Pokemon games. Pokemon's usually covered by, Pokemon Company, and they don't usually announce things in Nintendo Directs. Now, in terms of DLCs, I've already kind of talked about, I think Mario Party is likely going to get a DLC expansion. Maybe something paid would be nice, actually, because then it would be more hefty content. Like, in an ideal world, they would add a completely new game mode that would cover Mario Party 4, 5, and 6, and 7. With the orb gameplay, as well as those maps. But in a more realistic world, it would just be an expansion to the Mario Party 1, 2, 3 formula with some new maps, maybe new characters, maybe new games. And I don't know if I think anything else is really going to get DLC other than the ones we know, like Mario Golf. There hasn't really been much that's been released this year from Nintendo. So I don't know if anything else would get DLC. As for predictions, I do think we are going to see... I don't think we're going to see anything of Breath of the Wild 2. I would be very, very surprised if we would see Breath of the Wild 2, but I would be even more surprised if there's nothing to do with Zelda here. I do think whether it be a new game or the ports of the HD games from Wii U or the N64 games or something else entirely, like I think there's going to have to be something Zelda. Like we are in the Zelda 35th anniversary, and I think they're going to have to honor that in some capacity. In terms of Splatoon 3, I think we will see some Splatoon 3. I think it's been a while since they showed off Splatoon 3, and I think Splatoon 3 is a good bet for an early next year kind of game, and I think that's something they could show off a little more. Maybe not a ton, but maybe just like a little bit more of a hefty trailer than last time. And then I think my big predictions, so I'll start with some games. I mean, I'll predict this until the day it happens, but Bayonetta 3's got to come at some point. I'm really hoping that it's tomorrow. I would love to see Bayonetta 3 finally. I want to see her new hairstyle. I want to see the song that they're going to Bayonetta-ize. And I mean, Kamiya has said, they're waiting to be told that they can show it. So at some point, they're going to have to show this game. So I'm hoping it's going to be this year, because I think it would be a long time to wait till Game Awards or even next year to see that game. It's just overdue at this point. I do think there's going to be something in terms of NSO, Nintendo Switch Online, in terms of classic games. I'm not sure if you guys have spoken about it yet, but I know a lot of people have N64 on their mind because there's supposedly supposed to be a new controller being revealed, and some people think it's an N64 controller. I don't think it's an N64 controller. I think it's, and if it is an N64 controller, I would think that they would be releasing that more for the Mario Party game rather than for NSO. But I do think we're going to get Game Boy Color, maybe Game Boy Advance, and maybe the controller has something to do with that. Like it could be a Game Boy controller, something to that capacity could be cool. But I do think either way, we're getting some kind of classic game content. I think it's been a while, and I think the NES and the SNES have hit their limit with what they're going to add. And so I think they need to start delving into other libraries. My other one that I'm predicting is something from Monolith Soft, whether that be a port of Xenoblade X or Xenoblade 3 proper. Monolith Soft has been working on something, and they recently, I can't remember what I was reading about, something they updated their website that would suggest that there's some kind of new announcement or game coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's Xenoblade 3. Xenoblade 2 did come out close to the Switch's launch, and we're starting to see that resurgence of games that started. We had Splatoon 2, we had Breath of the Wild at the beginning of the Switch launch cycle, and now we're getting Breath of the Wild 2, we're getting Splatoon 3, so I wouldn't be surprised Xenoblade 3 is another one of those. And to go with that, another game that came out near the beginning of the Switch's life cycle was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I know some people don't think there's going to be a new Mario Kart game, and maybe it is a pipe dream, but again, I think we're on that wind where we're entering the second life cycle of the Switch's lifespan. I think that this generation for Nintendo is going to be a double generation in terms of length, and I think we're hitting that second phase, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot of those games, like a new Mario Kart. We got a new Mario Party, we're getting another Breath of the Wild, we're getting another Splatoon. So I really hope that we get a Mario Kart game announced. That would be my dream. And then finally, I think my last prediction, kind of harkening back to that 2 life cycle kind of thing, Super Mario Odyssey was also a year 1 Switch game. And so it's very possible that whatever that team was working on gets announced now. And there are heavy rumors that it is a Donkey Kong game. So I would love to see that. Littler things, maybe Arms 2, Arms 2, featuring Little Mac from Punch-Out. And we're definitely going to get our final Smash character. I'm willing to bet that. And to kind of end that off, to give you my Smash character prediction, I've gone back and forth about who I think it would be. And for the longest time, I told myself it would not be this character, and I would be upset if it was this character. And I still think, in a way, I think it's anticlimactic if this character is the final character, but I fully believe that it is him. I do think it's Crash Bandicoot. And I don't think that because he's been requested a lot. I don't think that because a lot of people just think he's the natural shoo-in. I think that because in Crash 4, in the very first level of the game, there's a TV that Crash and Coco sit in front of. And when you hit it at the beginning of the game, it goes to the Crash 1 title screen. And then if you hit it again, it goes to the Crash 2 1. And then if you hit it again, it goes to Crash 3. Hit it again, it goes to Crash 4. Hit it again, it shuts off. But if you get everything in the game, if you get 106%, which is literally everything in the game, and you go back to that level and you do the same thing, before it shuts off, after the Crash 4 title screen, before it shuts off, it actually shows a very brief logo that was like a Wumpa logo, a Wumpa fruit. And recently, Activision has been sending out kits to different people, just like they did when CTR was announced, just like they did when Insane Trilogy was announced, just like they did when Crash 4 was announced, with this Wumpa logo on it. And I believe wholeheartedly that that logo is Crash's logo in Super Smash Bros. And I think that he is going to be the final character because of that. Because Crash just had their 25th anniversary. They didn't announce anything. They missed that mark. And the only thing that makes sense to me as to why they wouldn't have announced something on the anniversary to capitalize for that, despite it being like a couple weeks ago, the only thing that makes sense in my mind is that it wasn't their announcement to make. And I originally thought it was going to be in the Sony Presents, but clearly it wasn't. So it's got to be in this Direct. And that makes me think it is Crash and Smash. And I do think he's an underwhelming final choice. I do think Crash Bandicoot being the last character to end what will likely be the greatest and biggest video game crossover game of all time. I do think Crash Bandicoot doesn't have that massive appeal, but he's the closest thing we're probably getting to a Sony Nintendo crossover. He is from Activision, who is unrepresented as of now, and he is quite recognizable and requested, so I won't be disappointed. I just will be underwhelmed. But yeah, so I think those are my predictions for the Direct. I hope you guys have a good rest of your podcast, and thanks for tuning in.
All right, and we're back. Giuliano's Giuliano's predictions are very similar to ours, but yeah, he pointed out a few big omissions actually on our end with Donkey Kong. But his prediction for Crash Bandicoot and Smash Bros. Was one of mine that I wanted to say, but like he said, Crash Bandicoot would be a little bit underwhelming for him. For me, not so much, because he's not like one of my most hype or most anticipated characters or most hoped for characters. Anything's better than Gino at this point. Any character is a win if it's if it means Gino is not in the game. Yeah. But so my heart is telling me Master Chief, but my brain is telling me Crash. I just think another Microsoft character would be awesome, and Master Chief is the most iconic Microsoft character. As much as I love Banjo, right? Banjo will always be my most hyped character reveal, my favorite game of all time, Banjo-Kazooie. That will never change. But Master Chief has that general audience pull, and I don't think any character, aside from Steve, really, in this entire DLC, has had that type of notoriety. I think Master Chief has that in spades. Halo Infinite is coming out this year. It's the 25th anniversary of the Halo series this year. Master Chief could use plasma weapons. You could use the UNSC weapons. Like, his moveset potential would be really good. And I just think like Halo is one of the biggest series that isn't represented in Smash Bros. And I don't think a PlayStation character would necessarily be in the game. Like I think like we're discounting that obviously, but like Crash Bandicoot, like Giuliano said, is the closest you can get to PlayStation by not putting in a PlayStation character. That's why I agree with him wholeheartedly. Crash is the one I think the most, but if I had to pick another one, it would be Master Chief.
Yeah, and if I had to pick another character for Smash, I really think we're gonna get Crash because of all of those, like even like all of the leaks and stuff, and like Activision sending out, like honestly, Activision needs any good PR at this point with where they're at with all of their lawsuits and whatever. They need good PR. They need something that'll make their investors happy, and having one of their characters in probably the greatest, I want to say, fighting game / mashup ever would be having Crash and Smash. And like it even rhymes, and it sounds nice.
Yep.
But there is one major omission to the roster that is a fan favorite that still has not been added to this game. No matter how much outcry there is, the fan base is dedicated. This character's been around for, gosh, almost 20 years now, and there's still nothing. And I want to say Waluigi. I think this is how they end it. I think they end
Mm.
with Waluigi, a first-party Nintendo character that would literally make everybody smile and say "wah" at the same time.
Yep.
It would be hype. As much as hype would bring Crash would bring in, I don't think they end on a third-party character. I think maybe they would end with Waluigi in this fighter pass and maybe release like one or two extra characters here or there, kind of like how Injustice 1 did it. Like they had their DLC pack and then they had like the odd character here and there outside of their DLC pack, right? Or
That's the thing, though. Like,
did Sakurai already say no more?
he said no more, but like he also says every Smash Bros. Game is his last one, right? So like, I would believe this is the end, but you never know. Waluigi Gino is one that, like, we saw that Project M trailer for Waluigi. That was really awesome, and that comes from me as someone who's not the biggest fan of Project M. That trailer was fantastic, and
Yeah.
it just
Waluigi
shows like
steals the invite.
he deserves to be in this game. Like Waluigi's minion from Mario Party 3 got in before him. He's in every Mario spin-off game. Waluigi is so deserving. He's one of the final really big first-party characters that isn't in the game yet or in the Smash Bros series yet, and I just think it'd be a fantastic addition. It's a really good pick, Gino. I honestly, whether it's Crash, Chief, Waluigi, anyone I'll be a welcome addition. Like I didn't care about Kazuya or Terry Bogard, but like I that's the thing with me. I can see the merits of almost any character except one.
And that is Gino.
I think that is a good way to call this episode to a close.
Honestly, Mateo, I do want to say this. After when we see the direct and everything, right? We're gonna have to change our outro.
Well, that's the thing. There's a chance maybe they don't show a Smash Bros character. It could happen. You never know. But like, probably we're gonna have to.
We're gonna see
We'll have to
something.
change our outro eventually.
I would love for us to change our outro and us be right. Because if we're wrong, oh boy. Oh boy. I don't think we should even acknowledge it if we're wrong.
Potentially will be official tomorrow. So, but with
Yeah.
that concludes part 1 of episode 32 of the Hub World podcast. Come back tomorrow when we post our episode 32 part 2, which will be our breakdown of the direct and all the exciting announcements that came out of there. So once again, if you like what we're doing, give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, comment, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts, follow us on Google Podcasts, give us a
Whatever the equivalent is.
yeah, a like or equivalent on those services. It would mean a lot to us. The channel's been growing a lot lately, and it's been pleasantly surprising every day looking at our analytics and our stats, and it's really heartwarming to know that we have an audience that comes every week and wants to listen to us weirdos talk about video games for an hour or so. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah.
More essentials will be coming. More surprise episodes.
I'm going to be posting a new mini series, a new Let's Play. I know Minecraft has kind of been on a hiatus for a bit. It's because I've been working on a new series, and it has something to do with another new series that we're doing that we're really excited to talk about. More on that one later on in October, actually, just before Metroid Dread launches. So stay tuned for that. Lots of new and exciting things. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your friend's mom. We're here, and it's going to be fun.
So anyways, friends, we will chit chat with you tomorrow when part 2 comes out. So stay tuned and happy hyping, everyone. See you later.
Choo choo.